What is going on, everybody? HeySan32 here. We are back. It's been a long time since I've posted, but Mortal Kombat just released a huge post-EVO balance patch. They buffed a ton of characters, they buffed a ton of cameos, and one of the characters and cameos that they buffed in this patch were Liu Kang and Motaro. Now, this will be the third time that I've done an updated Liu Kang Motaro guide. However, in this balance patch, the changes that this character and cameo both got were actually pretty significant, to the point where I think that Motaro is undoubtedly Liu Kang's best cameo now. So I'm going to do a full breakdown of this team. Once again, I'm going to go over the tools and how this team synergizes with each other. Alright, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the projectile shield, which is back and cameo. So this uses half your cameo bar, and then if you hold it, Motaro will walk forward. It'll consume the rest of your cameo bar. You can see how fast it comes back, just to show you that that is the actual recharge rate. I have cameo on default, so that is actually how fast it comes back. It says 37 frames startup, but it's really not how quickly it becomes active. It becomes active a lot faster than that. You can actually react to pretty much every projectile in the game with this projectile shield. And some projectiles that are really fast, for example Liu Kang's EX straight fireball, you react to that and reflect it, you'll actually be able to punish him with his own projectile, which is very, very good. So there's a couple uses of this shield. For one, in the zoning war, like I said, because this projectile shield will be out, your opponent really won't be able to throw a projectile at you, or if you guys are just going back and forth throwing projectiles, you'll always have the advantage with this shield, because at any moment you can just react and send their projectile back at them. It also will reflect cameo projectiles as well. So for example, like Jade's glaive, you can also reflect that. Some of the cameo projectiles don't actually hit the opponent in the same way. So like if I reflect a Jade glaive, I'm not going to get a full combo off of that. But you can send it back. You can also use it to get in. So let's say, for example, I'm playing against a character like a Sindel or a Reiko, or somebody that's trying to, you know, keep me out. I can always call out their shield and then just kind of like walk behind it and walk them down. You got to be careful with certain characters that have fast forward advancing moves. So like Reiko, for example, he can slide through Motaro and still hit you, so you got to be wary of that. But at the very least, I can still get into a range, or a closer range, where he can't really just throw a projectile at me for free, right? Which is the point. So that's the projectile shield. Certain matchups you're not going to get as much value out of it. Like for example, against Johnny, you're not going to get as much value out of that projectile shield as you would against other characters, but in those situations it is useful. Alright, so the next thing we're going to take a look at is the triple projectile. So this is down in cameo. This uses the full cameo bar, and it sends out these 3 mid projectiles. They do a ton of chip damage. Alright, so just to show you here. Yeah, so each one is 15 damage just chip by itself, so that's about 4.5% in total just off of the projectiles. And if I'm at full screen, I can use these projectiles to close out rounds or to close out games. So let's say, for example, I have you at full screen, or I end a combo and flying kick and it kind of sends you away, and I want to close out the round. I can now call out these triple projectiles and just kind of throw projectiles, my own projectiles, behind it and just chip you out. Look how much chip damage that sequence did. That was about 10%. And if for some reason you get hit at any point by one of these projectiles, right? Look at how much damage you just lost. 25% damage that you just lost. Completely unbreakable. You couldn't break any of that because it's all projectiles. Just because you tried to maybe jump to avoid it, or you tried to flawless block and mistimed and ended up getting hit, you just lost 25% of your life unbreakable. And obviously in a late game situation, that's going to be more than enough. Even if just a couple of those hit, it's like 12-15%, right, in that range. So that's very, very strong for closing out rounds. You can also set it up in combo, so you can do something like this. Oh, I dropped it. Right, you can set it up like that for free, basically. And there's really nothing that they can do about it. And then offensively, if you want to get in, so let's say my opponent is kind of playing a keep away game, and I find room to get this triple projectile out, right? You can see right there, I can actually, in between the first and second projectile, flying kick behind it. And if I time it right, the second projectile will cover me, and then because the third projectile is still coming out, I can actually take my turn immediately. Now, you have to be very careful with using this. I wouldn't recommend using the triple projectile as a way to get in, because of the recently buffed down 2 jump cancel mechanic. If you mistime this and they're able to squeeze in a down 2 punish before that second projectile comes out, you could potentially lose like 50 to 60% of your health, unbreakable, unscaled damage, because you mistimed the flying kick. And this uses your entire Kameo bar. Just keep that in mind. So the reward, in my opinion, is not worth it. So I wouldn't use this to get in if I needed to get in. There's other ways to get in, like I showed with the projectile shield, and then we'll show another way that's even better than both of those. But if you want to use it to get in, you can. Okay, I just wouldn't recommend it. Okay. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the low shot. Now, the low shot and the teleport are the bread and butter of this variation. These are the two most important moves. So on hit, the low shot is really not that special, but on block, this is where the low shot shines. Okay, so the low shot is plus 13 on block, and at mid screen, Liu Kang is one of the few characters in the game that can actually jail a button off of this immediately after the low shot is blocked. A lot of characters don't have a button that's fast enough and reaches far enough to actually jail off of this low shot, but Liu Kang is one of the characters that can. So Liu Kang can actually jail back 2 here, he can jail sweep here, and most importantly, he can jail forward 4. And just to show you that this is a true jail, okay, right, that's a true jail, okay? So your opponent cannot press through that, they can't jump, they can't backdash, they can't armor, they gotta hold that forward 4, okay? Now, the downside is that Liu Kang does not have a string or a normal that would jail into the low shot, okay? So if I do something like this into low shot, see there's an armor gap, 1, 2, there's a gap, okay? So how I like to condition my opponent to respect me in order to start utilizing the low shot is with 2-2, okay? So 2-2 by itself, plus 3 on block. I can down 1 check you if you try to react and press. 2-2-1 is also completely gapless, completely safe on block, and it's low negative frame, so if they try to take their turn back with like a slower mid or something like that, you can actually mash there in certain situations. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can against certain characters. Okay, but either way, this sequence, right, whatever you do here, right, your opponent will have to respect you. Okay, this is where you can start throwing in low shot, because now once they're respecting, knowing that they can't do anything after 2-2, that's when you can start doing 2-2 low shot. Now off the low shot, you get guaranteed free strike throw mix, because forward 4 jails. So if I do dash up throw here, alright, and you can see we get a combo off of that with teleport, which we'll talk about in a second. But now they have to guess on throw or forward 4. Okay, so that's the main brunt of what this variation does, right? Liu Kang is, or excuse me, this team does. Liu Kang is predicated on strike throw, so being able to have that low shot, which gives him a guaranteed strike throw mix, is very, very strong. Okay, which brings us to the teleport. Okay, now the teleport is the most important move that Liu Kang has. Why is it the most important move? Well, first and foremost, I want to mention a couple of things. So as you just saw, you can combo off throw with the teleport. In this patch, okay, they buff the teleport by adding in 3 new ranges to it. So normally when you teleport behind, it teleports you to around sweep distance, right? You're not immediately, or excuse me, you're not directly next to the opponent, right? There's some space there, okay? You can now teleport close, which will bring you right next to your opponent. You can teleport mid, which will bring you even farther away, which is about jump distance. And the big one, you can teleport far, which brings you full screen, okay? So what this does for Liu Kang is, as I was talking about before, certain situations where maybe you're trying to close out a round, you're trying to keep your opponent out, you have a life lead, or if you just prefer playing a zoning keep away style, you can now use this far teleport, right, to create that space whenever you want. And this only costs half the Kameo bar. Now to compensate, they did slow down the recharge rate of the teleport a little bit. Okay, that is one nerf to the teleport that they did. They made it recharge a little bit slower. But you can do that far teleport at least twice, okay? And you're not going to be doing it back to back to back all the time, right? There's going to be some time in between before you use it again. So by the time you use your second one, some of your Kameo bar will be back already, right? So you'll be able to move around the screen a decent amount, and if you really want to play that keep away game, you'll have access to that, right? Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention before, you watch my other guide, you would know I talked about Liu Kang being able to get in with low fireball into teleport. So previously what you would do is you would do low fireball, right, teleport behind with Motaro, and this was actually plus enough to where you could jail a forward 4. So just to show you, I'll have him do a reversal shadow kick. So you can jail a forward 4. But now, because you have a close teleport, right, you can actually jail 2-2, okay? Right, you can jail 2-2. Now, why that's important is because, first of all, 2-2 is hit confirmable, okay? So let's say, for example, they try to press, and I go into 2-2, I can hit confirm into a launcher, get a full combo, right? But 2-2, as we mentioned before, is +3 on block. So now, not only can I immediately take my turn back, I can jail with more plus frames and now go into more offense, right? So that's very, very important for Liu Kang being a strike throw character, right? Now, you can also get a combo off of this low fireball from full screen if it hits. So if I teleport behind and for some reason they get hit, I can also get a conversion off of that. So that's 39%. You can also choose not to spend bar. Right? That's 37% meterless because you got clipped by low fireball into Oki into now strike throw mix. And the last thing was a change that Liu Kang got, not Motaro. So the actual change was they added in 28 frames of hit advantage onto the first hit of flying kick. So when you do flying kick, when that projectile hits the opponent, 28 more frames of hit advantage. Now, it sounds like, okay, you know, that doesn't sound too crazy, like who cares, right? However, I want you to pay careful attention to the animation of this move, right? So Liu Kang is stationary. He does not move at the opponent until the projectile either hits them or is blocked. Okay, so what this means is before he actually goes out to kick them, you can use an ambush assist here and cancel the second hit of the animation, and because of the added frames of hit advantage on the first hit, you can actually get conversions off of this now. So you can do stuff like this. And if you look at the health bar, that was all one combo. That was 35% meterless into, if I would have, you know, dashed up into a strike throw mix on Oki, right? So now with Motaro, Liu Kang actually can get meterless damage, right? Something that Motaro normally does not give you is meterless conversions, right? He does not have anything in his kit that gives you combo extensions. But because of this new property on Liu Kang's flying kick, you can use Motaro's teleport to now get meterless conversion. So let's say I get a jab punish, right? Right? 31% meterless off of a jab punish into Oki setup. And the reason that this is very, very strong for Liu Kang is, remember the situation we talked about before with the low shot. If my opponent blocks the low shot here, right, plus 13, they have to hold a strike throw mix, right? But let's say in this situation I don't have meter. Well, most people would go, okay, I'll just take the hit, because on hit normally you're getting what, right, 18%, right? Not that bad. Send them to full screen, right? That's if you go for like max damage, right? So 18%, all right, cool, I'll just take the hit. As opposed to taking the throw, you can lose 20%, 21% of your life into that situation over again because it loops on Oki, right? But now you can't just take the hit, because even if I don't have bar, I can hit confirm into flying kick, cancel out of it into teleport and now get a full conversion, and now you lost 35% of your health, and I still get the same setup on Oki to where now I'm making you guess on strike throw again. This is very, very strong for Liu Kang's game plan, and I think this right here, right, him being able to combo a flying kick with Motaro is what, in my opinion, puts this team over the top as Liu Kang's best team. Obviously, Lao has its advantages, Chameleon has its advantages, right? But the combination of added offense on top of being able to play a very, very strong keep away game with Motaro as well, right? There's almost no weakness in this team at all. So that is the full updated Liu Kang Motaro breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be posting more videos soon. Stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, and thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.